Hello everyone, I'm Babla Jonathan and this is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast over Equinoxe television. Thank you for joining us today. In our headlines, 4 persons have died in a road accident on National Road number 6. The accident occurred about 4 kilometers away from Fumbot in the Nous division, west region of the country. Growing calls for prison reform in Cameroon are being amplified by those who have experienced the prison system firsthand. Jean-Jacques Mbanchun, a former inmate, tells us his experience in the Douala New Bell prison in this edition of the news. Stay with us. A serious road accident occurred late last night about 11 p.m. on National Highway number 6, approximately 4 kilometers from Fumbot in the Nous division, west region of Cameroon. The accident involved a long-distance intercity bus operated by a transport company, and the bus was traveling from Fumbot to Douala. According to a preliminary report, 4 people were killed. 2 of the victims' bodies were taken to the Fumbot District Hospital along with several injured passengers. The corpses were deposited in the Fumbot District Hospital mortuary, and among those who lost their lives was Chief Police Commissioner Evelyn Chintuo Arituyap and Deputy Commissioner of the Douala Railway Police, who succumbed to her injuries. The exact cause of the accident has not yet been determined, and authorities have not issued an official statement regarding the circumstances of the crash. Road transport operators in Cameroon raising fresh concerns over what they describe as excessive government interference in their sector following a major meeting here in Douala. Truck owners and drivers warned that mounting administrative pressure is threatening their business and livelihoods. Details with Law Manyeru in this report.
Here in Douala, Cameroon's economic hub, frustration has reached a boiling point. Transporters, drivers, and union leaders gathered on June 30th to report back on critical talks. New state regulations are pushing the transport sectors to the brink of collapse. The workers are protesting against 2 main governmental decrees. First, a 2022 law created a new category called Own Account Transport,
fixant les conditions d'accès aux professions de transporteurs routiers et d'auxiliaires de transport routier, dont
This allows large private companies to move their own goods without hiring professional transporters. Union says this has quickly stolen 50% of the market, causing an absolute financial disaster for regular truck owners. Second, they fiercely reject of 2025 decree transforming the National Shippers Council into state-owned company. Under this law, 25% of the money made from mandatory transport documents goes directly to fund this public corporation. Transporters call this unfair, urging that private businesses should not be forced to finance the governmental institution. On top of that, drivers complain about everyday struggle on the road. This includes being forced to buy dashboard cameras from a single exclusive provider, fuel loss issue at the Bafoussam depot, and heavy extortion or harassment from police, customs, and transport agents. However, there is still hope for a quick resolution. Transporters are calling on the government to act before the entire sector disappears, which will hurt the economic of the whole Central African region. A critical evaluation meeting is scheduled for mid-July to decide on the next step.
The Cameroon government has broken its silence over the fake presidential decree that recently reached state broadcaster CRTV, the Cameroon Radio Television authorities have confirmed the arrest of the suspect behind the forged document as the delayed official response and ongoing investigation continue to fuel public debate. Equinoxe reports.
In a statement issued on June 30, Communication Minister and Government spokesperson Rene Emmanuel Sadi said the suspect is in detention and investigations are ongoing. Authorities say the forced decree was presented to CRTV as an official document from the presidency bearing the presidential seal and the President Paul Biya's signature. CRTV detected the fraud and refused to broadcast it. The government maintains that no decree appointing a vice president and members of a new government was ever signed and that the suspect has no ties to the presidency. The incident comes 8 months after President Paul Biya's re-election and his pledge to appoint a new government in the coming days, a promise yet to be fulfilled. Political actor Guizong Esomba says that vacuum created a perfect condition for the fake decree to emerge. Everything began with the president's announcement that in the coming days he would appoint a new government. Nearly 8 months have passed without that happening. Nature abhors a vacuum, and the people kept calling on the president to appoint the new government. Esomba argues the unprecedented delay is raising institutional concerns, noting that in a country governed by the rule of law, this situation raises concerns about an institutional crisis. After every presidential election, there has always been a cabinet reshuffle. It has never taken this long. Esomba says the prolonged uncertainty has left many Cameroonians questioning why a new government has yet to be formed and announced. This situation suggests that the president may be facing circumstances that prevent him from responding as expected. As President Paul Biya remains in Switzerland, many Cameroonians are anxiously awaiting his return, hoping he will finally unveil the long-awaited government and bring an end to the uncertainty surrounding the country's political leadership.
And within the ranks of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM political party, the situation qualified as stalemate by some analysts is attributed to the impatience, or better still what is qualified as the impatience of Cameroonians, and the militants of the ruling party and supporters of the President of the Republic are also highlighting factors best known to the President of the Republic and indicating that such decisions are not taken in a haste. They are well thought and well planned to be able to put in place government within the current context of the Republic of Cameroon. We shall be coming back to that in Talking Point. Now, 7 years after a devastating fire crippled the national oil refinery company Sonora, Cameroon is embarking on an ambitious plan to rebuild and modernize its only oil refinery, backed by a 700 billion francs CFA investment. The project officially entered a new phase with an international market consultation launched in Yaoundé. For me, Armstrong Sander has more.
The new chapter opened on June the 29th, 2026 in Yaoundé with an international market consultation.
La Sonora, plus forte, plus moderne, moteur du Cameroun de demain.
Engineering firms, oil companies, banks and advisors gathered to review the plan.
Que les travaux de ce market sounding permettent de poser les bases.
According to the Ministry of Finance, the goal is to fine-tune the project's technical, financial and legal framework before launching a call for bidders. The scope has changed dramatically. Beyond repairing the 2019 fire damage, the plan now includes a full modernization of the company. A new hydrocracker unit will allow Sonora to process crude oil produced in Cameroon. Storage facilities will be upgraded and refining capacity will rise from 2.1 million to at least 3.5 million tons per year. That pushes the cost to CFA 700 billion up from CFA 250 billion first set aside for reconstruction. The ambition makes Sonara a modern hub in Cameroon's oil value chain. The project will run as a public-private partnership under a design, build, finance, and maintain model. The private partner will build and finance it, but Sonara will keep ownership and run daily operations. Key questions, however, remain: who will fund it, how will risks be shared, and how will it work alongside the new 30,000 barrels per day refinery under construction in Kribi in the Ocean Division of the South region. Since the 2019 fire, Cameroon has relied heavily on imported fuel. With Sonara's overhaul on the way, the government is betting on a bigger transformation, less import, more local refining, and a stronger national industry.
And this is qualified as a response to allegations that the state or the government was allowing the national oil refinery Sonara to die in favor of the construction or establishment of another refinery in the Kribi. And there have been concerns raised about this issue, and now authorities are coming out to say that efforts are on the way with a 700 billion francs CFA investment to revamp and modernize Sonara in the southwest region of the country. And that's it for the first part of this newscast. Talking Point comes up next. Thank you for joining us in Talking Points. Our guest today is Barrister ACHU. Julius is a lawyer and member of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM political party. Barrister, thank you for joining us today. First question to you. There is said to be confusion and uncertainty in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, notably within the ranks of the administration with regards to the announcement of the President of the Republic months ago that a new government was going to be set up in the days ahead. Those were his words, in the days ahead, after the October 12, 2025 presidential election. Several months have elapsed. Nothing is happening. Barrister, tell us, you're within the ranks of the ruling party, the party in power. What is happening in Yaoundé?
The problem is that the Cameroonians are now more conscious of our politics, or the politics of the day, than before because of social media. So there's this tendency of not being patient enough to wait. You know, taking certain decisions in Cameroon is very complicated because we have 250 tribes that you have to take into consideration. We have 300 political parties that you have to take into consideration. And we have the sensibilities of Cameroonians which you have to affect by any decision you're taking. So it's not going to be very easy to take a decision at a moment's notice or at the pace at which certain persons may want. Secondly, we know we have a president who takes his time. His time is his time. And he's a constitutionalist and a lawyer. He knows that he cannot go against the law. There's nothing in the law that says the president should appoint a government at a particular time or appoint the vice president that I've been talking about. And then thirdly, you should understand that to appoint a vice president, it is stated in the constitution that the president may. There's that conditional word, may. So it's not even an obligation on him to appoint one now. See, he may do it. And the way he does it depends on him. So at the end of the day, I don't think there's anything very special except the fact that Cameroonians are not patient enough to wait. And if you understand politics, the patient dog is the largest bone. And to get the truth out of certain issues in politics, you have to give it a time. Suddenly you see people jumping up from nowhere to say they are signing presidential decrees to go and place the radio and things like that. Those ambitions have to come out, and we'll see what is wrong ourselves so that when we take cognizance of that fact, that our problem is impatience most of these incoherencies will stop. I don't see any problem as of today, except, as I say, the impatience of Cameroonians, especially because of social media.
However, the patient dog may only end up eating the fattest bone and never eating meat. And even the bone, he may only eat the bones if the impatient ones are satisfied and decide to leave behind the bones. So, Barrister, tell us, is it right for a country like Cameroon, plagued by so many socio-political, economic, security challenges, to be without a new government after several months after the presidential election? Is it right?
Yes. I don't think there's any confusion because the ministers are still doing their jobs. Those who are empowered to manage the issues of Cameroon are still there doing their job. Nobody has hesitated so far. Nobody has, apart of the two ministers that resigned and those that are dead, as well as some parliamentarians which are no longer there, were no longer alive. I think everything is going on normally. Because I know people are worried with the issues of the general management in parastatals and public companies. That some of our states, despite their legality, because of the way things are of today. But you see, I strongly believe that those who think that they've outstayed their usefulness or their legality in the post in which they are occupying, they have to be the first persons to resign. Why should we always wait for the president to take decisions? Meanwhile, every other Cameroonian is bound to respect the law as it is. If you make 9 years in the post of a general manager or board chair, it goes without saying that you have to resign. Why should you wait? And is that waiting? Is that issue of not respecting the law that causes the impatience in Cameroonians too? And what you term confusion. Because we don't expect only the president alone out of 30 million Cameroonians to respect the law. What of the others? But in any case, to me, I feel in as much as there's no illegality in what the president is doing or the way he's acting, to me, it's perfectly right what he's doing. And he preaches by example, and I expect every other Cameroonian to preach to by example.
There may not be a confusion in the strict sense of the word confusion, but there will certainly be uncertainty after the President of the Republic announced that he was going to name a new government in the days ahead, and several days and even months, weeks and months have elapsed. And the two ministries which you mentioned, the ministries of employment and vocational training, formerly headed by ACHU Bakari, and the Ministry of Tourism, formerly headed by Bello Buba Maigari, are till today being managed by interim ministers, so to speak, who are now managing two portfolios, two ministries at the same time. Do you think that the question remains, do you think that it is right for a country like Cameroon to continue functioning in this way?
The problem is, what do you mean by the days ahead? What do you mean? The days ahead can be 1 day, as it can be 12 months, as it can be 5 years. They are still the days ahead. Why do you want to subject your interpretation of the days ahead to be that of the president? Is there any legal disposition that obliges the president to put in a government after presidential elections? There's none. So why are we so worried about that? Why? But in any case, we are in an era of democracy. Everybody has a right to view these things in his own manner. But I will also advise Cameroonians that they should wait till the day they are presidents themselves to take certain decision as a president. We cannot force the president to take a decision when he's not ready to take one. And secondly, you should understand that those high decisions are so well thought out. So it goes without saying that there must be a problem that you and me don't know, and which the president alone, to whom we handed over our sovereignty, is managing. Some of us have so much confidence in him that the way he's doing it is correct, and we are patient.
So Cameroonians should continue waiting in poverty, misery, hardship.
First of all, is the consequences of impatience. We are not patient enough to wait. And I don't believe that a young man did that fraud alone. He should have a team behind him who is some sort of masterminding the modus operandi of such fraud. Because when I look at that young man who went to the radio, he couldn't have been alone. And what is surprising is the fact that they could manufacture the state seal as well as imitate the signature of the President of the Republic. So I think there should be a very big group of impatient fellows who have attempted to make a coup d'etat by doing that. And that young man who was just the visible side of it was not, in my own opinion, is not capable of taking that decision alone. He must have been coming from high up, because if you go to CRTV to deposit an announcement, you are received at a certain level. You don't go to the level of management. So to reach that level that he went, it means he had backup, he had cover, he had some people who were with him, and those who organized those things with him to make what will happen. I know that places like the presidency should have special papers and special ink they use, which are not easily copied. So I'm sure the fakeness must have been determined by things like that. But in any case, I have still put it under the banner of impatience. Political decisions are never taken in a haste. It has to be well thought out, so that the best decisions taken at the best possible opportune time.
Well, some analysts are attributing the fact that somebody had to take to the national broadcaster, the Cameroon Radio Television, fake presidential decrees appointing a vice president and appointing a new government to the long period of waiting. However, government has now spoken about it with a statement from the Ministry of Communication confirming that he's been arrested and is being questioned over that action. And that's it for today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast over Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for staying with us. God bless Cameroon. God bless Africa. Goodbye.